Forensics haven't been done yet. Every chance there will be a court case at the end of this.
Just go around to the bench here, just have a quick look inside your bag.
And a man travelling from South America is stopped by customs.
Yeah, because I come here a couple of times.
His story really doesn't add up.
He's come in today, he's going home again tonight. His clothing is quite expensive, and I don't know, something's not hanging together right here.
When a drug dog sniffs a passenger's luggage and then moves on, you'd think that the dog hadn't detected any drugs. But the dog could have found something and indicated to the handler without the passenger ever knowing. The passenger thinks they've gotten away with it until they're pulled over by customs officers. At Gatwick Airport, UK border agency officers are out in force with the aid of highly trained sniffer dogs.
Just lower your bag, please, for the dog.
Jessie's nose is 1,000 times more sensitive than a human's.
That's lovely, thank you very much. Keep on going.
And she plays a vital role in identifying concealments of drugs carried in luggage and on passengers. Jessie's handler secretly indicates to other officers that this man may have something to hide.
Hello, sir. Just a quick customs check. Just go on. See your passport and ticket, please. You travelling with anybody else today?
No.
Thank you. What's the reason for your visit?
Visiting my sister. So I want to do a little business.
Here on some other business too?
Yeah.
What type of other business?
I'm an auto mechanic.
Right.
So I want to look at sourcing foreign use parts.
Right. Do you have anything to declare to customs today at all?
Well, I have my suitcase.
Yeah, you've got your suitcase as well.
Right, so yes,
Yeah. Are these your bags?
Yeah.
Did you pack them yourself? Okay, let's have a quick look through. If you just take a step that way for me. Okay, thanks.
The fact that the dog showed interest in the man's nervous behaviour gives reason enough to continue with a thorough search of his bags.
Feels like there's an area in here. I'm just going to cut into that. Okay? Yeah. Do you know what it is?
The suspicion grows stronger when the officer discovers something in the lining of the bag. Britain's ports are hotspots for smuggling illegal goods into the country. Dover is one of Europe's busiest ports, handling over 2 million trucks every year. Border officials can't check every single truck, but experience often tells them when something isn't right. Today they've stopped a Polish tanker that's purportedly carrying apple juice. A security scan of the truck has shown that there could be more than just apple juice in the tanker. But to find out for sure, officers will have to climb into the truck's tank. And that's a job for a specialist team known as the Deep Rummagers.
They are the only team that has the capability to carry out such a search.
The Deep Rummage team was set up to root out drugs, people trafficking and weapons being shipped into the UK. The rummagers lower themselves into dark and sometimes lethal engine rooms and bilges of commercial ships to search for contraband. And in the 6 years since the team was set up, they've uncovered $400 million worth of Class A drugs, weighing in at over 12 tonnes. Team leader Mark Jefferson briefs his Deep Rummager team.
Right, we've got the scanner image. As everyone can see, there's packages and the front and back pots. Everyone gloved up, forensics haven't been done yet. Every chance there will be a court case at the end of this. Okay?
The team's used to working on ships, so working inside a truck will be something new.
It's the first time I've ever been in one, yes. So it's treated exactly the same as any confined space.
The Deep Rummagers never know how much air there'll be inside a confined space, so it makes sense to wear breathing apparatus.
After oxygen gets down below a certain level, you can actually pass out. You could take one breath and there'd be no more oxygen in your body. Your muscles have not function, your brain wouldn't function, you'd go unconscious and then die. That's it, it's as simple as that.
Back at Gatwick Airport, a man who's just arrived from Amsterdam has been pulled over for questioning.
Okay, what we're going to do is just go around to the bench here, just have a quick look inside your bag.
It seems this is not the first time the man has been stopped.
We saw this guy a couple of months ago. He's a frequent traveller to the UK. When he's intercepted, he comes up with a different reason for travel each time. He comes up with a different background story each time. For some reason, he doesn't want to tell us exactly what he's doing.
Okay, now you told me that you wanted to come and live in the UK.
Yeah.
Yes? Is that what your trip is all about? You're coming over here?
Yeah, because I want to find that out if I like it, but I want to find that out if I really like it to stay here. You know?
Okay, but you're not staying very long to try and find out, you know, been here.
Yeah, because I come here a couple of times.
You're a very light traveller. You're a very light traveller.
I like travel.
No, you're very light. You don't have much baggage with you.
Yes, I don't come for all of it.
The officers have reason to be suspicious.
Yeah, I've stopped him before, and he had a laptop case. And when we did the iron track on the laptop case, it gave us the highest I've ever seen. And he was very inconsistent with his story at the time. So we body scanned him, we x-rayed him at the hospital, that was all negative, and we had nowhere else to go, we had to let him go.
Having found massively high traces of drugs on the passenger in the past, officers must again rule out the possibility that he may be carrying drugs this time.
Did you?
Yeah, to Suriname.
You went to Suriname?
Yeah.
And what did you do while you were there on vacation? Where did you stay?
Family. My family.
You've got family out there?
My grandma was sick also. She's 82 years now. So
She lives in
Suriname. Yeah.
Suriname, does she? Just take a seat. I'll be back in a moment.
With large quantities of Class A drugs entering the UK from South America, Officer Sarah needs to make sure the man's links with Suriname are legitimate.
So he's come in today, he's going home again tonight. He's saying that he just wants to come over here to see what it's like to live in the UK. But I'm not really very happy with what he's telling me. I'm not really very happy with, you know, he says he works in a shop, in a magazine section of a shop out the back. He doesn't actually sell magazines to the public. But he's got, his clothing is quite expensive, and I don't know, something's not hanging together right here.
On the air bridge, a man has denied that he's carrying anything illegal, but officers have found a package hidden inside the lining of his briefcase.
Okay. Just found what I suspect to be cocaine there. So I'm arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of a controlled drug. So you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you're not mentioned when questioned, so mentioned later on in court. Anything you do say may be given as evidence. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Just going to put you on some handcuffs, okay?
Okay, here we go. What's your name? What's your first name? Mark. Mark, okay. Do you want to roll your sleeves up? Right.
The inner lining of the bag appears to be packed with white powder, but it'll have to be tested to see if it's cocaine. The man is taken downstairs to the custody suite.
We made the arrest because we found the package inside, which is in the front here, in the front wall, and in the back wall. Earlier on I cut into the front one. So what I'll do now is just remove some of that white powder with my knife. This goes blue. And that's... Yep, there we go, so it's gone blue, so that's positive. That should be cocaine.
It's cocaine, all right, and there's 2.5 kilos more of it in the briefcase, with a street value of over $150,000. In Dover, specialist rummager Nathan is about to enter a tanker that is supposed to be carrying apple juice.
Right, we've got the scanner image.
But a security scan has revealed there may be something more than what's on the manifest.
As you can see, he's got the breathing apparatus on, so he can work away in there as long as he's happy to now.
With his safety checks on his breathing apparatus carried out, Nathan climbs into the lorry. It's an Aladdin's cave of packaged boxes crammed into the space. Nathan begins to pass the cartons out of the truck so they can be inspected.
Boxes of Glenton tea, which are full of Regal cigarettes. About 1,000 in here. This is obviously not apple juice. So somebody's put a false declaration in. and they've smuggled a large quantity of cigarettes into the country. So now we've got to remove them and find out how many there are.
In Gatwick, officers are still probing the Dutchman with the inconsistent story.
I just need to ask you a couple of questions about the bag.
His passport shows he's made multiple trips over a relatively short period of time, and officers don't know if he's telling the truth or not.
Him. I'm not happy, but at the same time I can't persecute the guy.
No, you can't. Sarah decides to swab test his bag for any traces of drugs.
So, just going to see if I can get any readings from the bag here.
A positive result for the presence of cocaine leaves officers with more questions.
Have you got a hit off his bag?
Yes.
How high?
1.96. Oh, a bit higher.
What does he say he does for a job?
He works in a magazine section behind a shop.
See, last time he said he was involved in his family gold business.
Oh, really? No, there's been no mention of the family gold business. And I'll go and investigate further about his job.
Okay.
How long have you worked in this warehouse stroke shop?
5 years. Also for somebody home, like when you have a house, painting, put the floor.
Oh, okay. So your family do that kind of work?
Yeah.
And you learnt that from them, but now, is that what you're saying? Now you do that work?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
The inconsistent job history, along with the lack of evidence, is beginning to frustrate Sarah.
It just gets more and more bizarre the more I talk to him. I don't know what to make of this. I don't want to persecute the guy, but at the same time, there is a lot of stuff that's not adding up.
What we will do is search him to see if we can find anything on his person, any papers, large sums of cash, anything at all, which could indicate the real reason for his travel to the UK, which obviously he doesn't want to tell us about.
I'm really not very happy about some of the things that you've said to me today. You're not here for very long. So for that reason, I've had a search authorised. So some male officers here are going to take you into the room, away from the public view, and they'll just give you a rub-down search, OK?
The man's been detected with hits of cocaine on previous visits to the UK, but drugs have never been found on him. This time, his luck could be running out. The Dutchman who's been detected with high readings of cocaine and who's only going to be in the UK for just one day is undergoing a search of person. But within 10 minutes, the answer comes back. Frustratingly, nothing is found and the man is free to go.
All right, that's fine. Thanks very much for your time.
Just now I come to live in here, so I hope don't have this problem with you people.
It's a disappointing outcome for the officers.
His story, his reasons for being here are unbelievably vague. That we have no idea what he's doing. So it doesn't really all add up. Who knows?
In Birmingham, Officer Mike is observing passengers disembarking a flight from Morocco. As passengers head for the exit, Mike spots a lone male passenger who is acting a bit sus. He pulls him over to ask him a few questions.
How long have you been out there?
10 days.
Was that holiday? Yeah. And who were you visiting?
What?
Who were you visiting?
Family.
From the man's demeanour, it seems he's somewhat less than happy about being stopped.
So what do you do in the UK?
Security.
Yeah, what sort of security? Building security, door security?
Not door security, obviously retail security.
Retail security. Yeah. Okay. Just bear with me, I'm going to have a quick look through your bag. If you pop it on there for me, okay? So how long have you been working for them?
No, someone didn't choose me not to do that kind of thing. I need to go home, you know?
Oh, I'm sorry, you've got to go somewhere, sir, but we'll do this as quick as we can.
The man's annoyance at being stopped makes Mike even more suspicious that he has something to hide.
Where are you off to now? Sorry?
I want to go home.
You just want to go home? Where's home?
Birmingham. Cakes. If you open it, don't crack.
Sorry?
Cakes. If you open it, put it again, please, like the same.
Well, I'll do my best, but, you know, if you're not happy the way we do it, then you can sort it out for yourself, can't you?
What do you mean I sort out myself?
Well, I'll open it the best that I can. If you want to, do you want to unwrap it for me?
You know why? Listen to me, listen to me.
Well, do you want to unwrap it so you can wrap it back up how you want, or do you want me to just cut it open? I'm happy for you to unwrap it.
I mean, you can pray and you can use machines as
No,
well.
that's... I'm going to have a look.
I'm not happy what you do it.
The man walks off in protest as Mike continues searching his bags.
Excuse me, sir, could you come back and just watch what I'm doing? Yeah, I'll carry on when you're back here, OK? You just watch what I'm doing. If you keep wandering away, it'll take 3 times as long, OK?
Yeah, I've been quite doing right.
Sorry?
Sick of the pieces, to be honest. Serious mistakes.
Yeah, well...
See them in the machine and stuff. You don't have to open it.
Listen, I don't tell you what to do for your job, you please don't tell me what to do for mine, and then we'll get on just fine, won't we?
With the man's attitude getting worse, Officer Mike thinks he might be onto something. The rummagers in Dover have discovered a huge stash of cigarettes hidden inside the tanker.
As you can see, boxes coming out at a good rate. Each box containing 1,000 cigarettes.
Cigarettes are some of the most profitable items smuggled into the UK. Around 1.8 billion cigarettes are seized each year.
About another 1,000 in here. Confined spaces can be used to hide any number of things. Yeah. In this case, it's cigarettes. Could easily have been drugs, firearms, any other illegal commodity you can think of.
The first compartment has been emptied, and rummager Nathan comes out for a break and describes the difficulties of working in such a confined space.
It's very warm once you get going because there's no breeze going over the top. I'm breathing the air straight through the mask, you see, so it doesn't cool down. So yeah, it's quite warm.
The rummage team is now hard at work emptying the final compartment. With all the packages removed from the tanker, the deep rummage team have reached the end of their search.
Yeah. Is there 1 million there? There's got to be. Just over 1 million, I reckon.
As the team downs tools, Mark adds up the total value of the haul.
Right, we've got the grand total of 928,000 cigarettes.
That's a retail value of about $400,000.
That's us getting back to doing what we probably do, which is rummaging ships tomorrow.
In Birmingham, Officer Mike is still searching the bags of the disgruntled passenger who started his journey in Morocco.
What's this?
This is, rocks, maybe.
Sorry?
Check them.
Will you tell me what it is before I get there? You tell me you know what's in the bag.
It's kind of sweet eating Ramadan or something like that.
What's that one do?
Huh?
What's that for?
This?
Yeah.
Medication?
For what?
For headache.
For a headache?
Someone pissed me off and put this, I drink it.
Having found nothing of significance in the man's bag, Mike swab tests his shoes for any traces of drugs.
I just swabbed the shoes feel a little heavy, and I just swabbed the inside of them to see if we've got a trace reading. As you can see, there's a small trace reading for heroin. I'm just going to pop them through the X-ray now. You can see what I was doing there was just swiping the inside of the shoe, and we're getting the sort of trace readings for drugs out the inside of the shoe. Have you ever taken or do you take drugs? No. You've been in contact with any during the course of your trip? No? It's okay, because it can offer an innocent explanation. I'm just going to X-ray the shoes and have a look, see what we find. Now that, to be honest, that looks exactly what I'd expect to see. Looks fine. Okay, so thanks for your patience. You start putting that back if you want to. I'm just going to make a note of the fact that I've stopped you, okay? It's a legal requirement, that's something we do. Okay, but I'm happy to put everything back.
The small trace of heroin is put down to a rogue reading. However, the passenger is less than happy that he has to repack his own bag.
So you can repack it if you wish to. Well, you can repack it if you want to. I mean, it's the legal obligation is passengers are legally obliged to open and repack their baggage when requested to do so. Just speeds things up for you. I know you're in a rush.
The man's clearly unhappy about the whole incident. But being searched occasionally is all part of international travel.
There you go, thanks for your time and your patience. We're very well aware that the majority of people are perfectly innocent travellers going about their normal day-to-day life. The guilty don't wear labels, and it can make our job a lot easier if people are compliant and pleasant with us rather than perhaps trying to see things that aren't there.
The briefcase the man was carrying from Trinidad had barely anything in it, besides 2.5 kilos of cocaine.
There was only 5 envelopes in there, and now I've taken those out, it's still quite heavy. You can feel that the walls are quite wide. There's no need for them to be that wide. You can feel that there's something in there, front and back. The back section is quite well done though. With regards to stitching, you can't really see anything wrong with the stitching. It's just literally how thick it is. Yeah, the courier himself, I don't know how much money he would have got, maybe £1,000, £2,000 perhaps. But then the risk of getting caught, you know, losing out on all the money, it's quite high as well.
Having been caught red-handed, the passenger has started changing his story.
When we took him to his cell, we said that the satchel was handed to him by somebody else at the airport. He was asked to bring that through, so this isn't his case. But then he already told me that it was his earlier on.
The man is currently awaiting trial, and if he's found guilty,